This is Stefan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com. This week I did a story for one of the largest public radio stations in the country, WNYC, and the story was about what I see as a kind of deep-seated anger by Americans, both liberals and Democrats, conservatives and Republicans, with the political system and with politicians. And I called it a real anti-incumbency movement. We've seen that other years, but I've never seen it as strong as I think I do this year. And my view is based on the fact that the polls are showing a tremendous amount of disaffection. In particular, let me quote a poll that I saw just last week, where a majority of Americans want to vote out every member of Congress, including their own senator and congressman. That is a number and a finding that I've never seen before in my 41 years of analyzing politics. Normally what we say is that people want to get rid of the rascals in Washington, but they like their own congressman and senator, and they want to keep them in. And this is the first time I've ever seen a majority of Americans want to throw everybody out. I think that is an indication of how frustrated people are. And of course, the approval rating of Congress as a whole is the lowest that it's ever been in, as far as I can tell, recorded polling history. It was down to an approval rating of something like 12 or 13%. The second thing that is astonishing is that President Obama's poll ratings have gone down below 50%. In some polls it's 43%, and others it's a little bit higher. But at this point in his administration, he should be at 50% or above. And the reason is that historically, if a president's poll numbers are below 50%, he is very likely to not get reelected. That's consistent in most of the past, in all of the past elections. You don't want to fall too far below 50%. I think Bill Clinton had a high 40s rating and still got reelected, but it's very risky and very dangerous for Obama. And there was another poll that came out. The Washington Post did a poll that came out actually today, in which the approval rating for President Obama as a president is pretty dismal. The majority of Americans, and it's something like 65 or 70%, think that the country is on the wrong track, that another very high negative number for the question of whether people trust or think Obama has the correct and successful policies for creating jobs and on the economy. And people, overwhelming number of people, think that he does not. So I think that what we're going to be looking at this year is how much of a turnover will there be in the coming elections, both of House members and Senate members. And certainly we're all interested in the question of whether or not President Obama will be reelected. I talked with a very smart former student of mine about this, and she said, I'd like to see how Obama would do against some other Democrats in a primary. Of course, there is no one challenging him, but she said, I wonder if he could get the nomination if, for example, Hillary Clinton were running in the primary against him, or if Mayor Bloomberg of New York City were to challenge him in primaries. And that's an astonishing question, because normally an incumbent president is bulletproof and really cannot be challenged in the primaries. But this year there's a lot of anger in the Democratic Party, among Democratic progressives and liberals especially, but also other Democrats who are very disappointed with the president. So this year, I'm saying, is the year of getting rid of incumbents and of a real lack of confidence in government. And anti-incumbency is, I guess, what I think is the theme for election 2012. We'll talk more about that in other InsiderIowa.com stories, and I'll be keeping an eye on how the anti-incumbency movement unfolds. This is Stefan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com.